Welcome, everyone, to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I have a returning guest this time around. It is Steve from Rock and Metal Invasion, all the way from New Zealand. How you doing, Steve?
I'm good, Tim. Yeah, no, good to be on your show.
Thanks for being here. We talked about this, and I think this is going to be a fun episode. We're going to have sort of a corresponding show on each of our channels. But on this channel, we're going back in time 35 years. It's hard to believe that 1988 is 35 years. I
Yeah.
remember 1988 like it was yesterday. It was a great time in music. It was a great time to be a rock fan. And so what we're going to do on this episode is that Steve is going to go through what the top 50 singles were on the New Zealand charts approximately this date in 1988. Then on his show, we're going to do the same thing with the Canadian chart. So I know that for both of us, this is going to be, we're going to have artists that the other's going to go, I've never heard of them in my life, or maybe we might be surprised. So I'm excited to find out what was like charting in New Zealand that I know, and more so almost what I don't know. And I'll probably be asking lots of questions like, who are they again? So yeah, Steve, like if you want, start us off. Let's count it down. Start at number 50.
Okay, sure. All right, so here we go. So this is the New Zealand singles charts, and this is yeah, all the stuff you can actually see online, which is fantastic. So you can actually search it all up and see all the charts, which is something I didn't really know about, Tim, until I sort of thought about doing shows like this. And it's like, wow, this is like a real trip back in time, looking at all the charts, because I used to follow the charts, even in even the pop charts, not in '88. I'm definitely into the hard rock and metal acts. From sort of around '86 when a similar story to you when Slippery When Wet came out, heard that album, yeah, and I just started getting into bands that looked like Bon Jovi and sound like Bon Jovi. That's that sort of sound, and I sort of had left the pop stuff behind, but I always still paid attention to the charts, and the singles charts. So it's really interesting to go back and have a look. So yeah, so this is for the week November 27, 1988. And at number 50, we've got Eric Clapton and After Midnight.
Okay, so that probably would have been the remade version because he did I think he had a box set out that year, and he did the original version of After Midnight is really fast, but if this is the version I'm thinking of, I think that it was used in a beer commercial that's really slow, or it's a lot slower. I'm guessing that that's the charting version that you're talking about.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I don't know. It's last week it said it was at 48, 7 weeks on the chart, so not a huge hit at this stage, but yeah.
We're off to a good start. I know that one.
Okay. What about I think you know this one. I remember this one. Fat Boys and The Twist.
Bad Boys with Chubby Checker.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do remember. Yeah, I do remember that.
Bit of a gimmick band, really, eh? But
Oh yeah, I don't think that would. I don't think. I don't think they would. I don't think they'd do that today, or they call themselves something different anyway.
yeah, well, that's true as well. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're literally living up to their name. Looking, there's a picture of them
Yeah.
on the single, and yeah. Anyway, moving on. Now, this is one that I definitely know about, and I think you will as well. Number 48 is "Welcome to the Jungle," Guns N' Roses.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and actually, not the only time Guns N' Roses are going to feature on the chart, but all right, 47. One Moment in Time by Whitney Houston.
Yeah. Yeah, this was from. Yeah, I know this song. It was a slow song. It was from an album that was inspired by. It had something to do with the Olympics, the Summer Olympics.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
album was called One Moment in Time.
Oh, yes. Actually, now I can see just in the corner of the single, it says from the 1988 Summer Olympics album. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 46, Chill in My Heart by Eurythmics.
Yeah, I know that song. That
Yeah.
that actually wasn't a big hit in the States, but I do remember seeing the video here in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, and Eurythmics were huge here in New Zealand, really big. And yeah, I remember the song. I think late '80s they were starting to fade away a little bit in popularity, but yeah, mid
I
'80s
think
they
they
were
only
huge.
did one more album in the '80s, and then they
Yeah,
stopped for a while. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, next one. I don't know anything about this. The band is Go Betweens and Streets of Your Town.
I
No?
do not. I don't recognize the name, and I don't recognize the title.
Mm. I'm pretty sure that's not a New Zealand act, but yeah. So, but it's I didn't even research that one, so we'll move on. Next one I know. Now I'm interested to know if you're familiar. I think you will be with this artist. This is John Farnham and Age of Reason.
Absolutely, yeah. I know
Yeah,
who John Farnham is. He had "You're the Voice." He had
yeah,
"Two Strong Hearts." He was. I mean, I know he was a big, big star in Australia and New Zealand,
mm,
and I know
mm,
that he at one point was in the Little River Band.
yeah,
But yeah, I know who John Farnham is.
yeah, yeah. And he did some pretty good sort of soundtrack stuff as well. In the mid '80s, if you kind of like that AOR sort of, even at times hard rock sort of sound, he did. But he's getting a little bit more commercial in the late '80s and getting quite popular as well. So yeah, so that was at 44. Yeah, that was actually a bit of a hit, that one. 16 weeks on the chart. Next one, Fairground Attraction and Find My Love.
I've heard of Fairground Attraction, and they had a. I know they had a song called "Perfect," but that's about the end of my knowledge.
Yeah. All right, 42. First week on the chart, Anita Baker and that, giving you the best.
Giving you the
Uh,
best that I got, I think
yeah,
is the
yeah. It doesn't actually
yeah.
have the whole song title. Yeah,
It
yeah,
it rings a bell. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know Anita Baker, but yeah.
She was like an
Now,
R and
next
B
one.
soul singer.
Yeah, yeah. Next one. I know. It's UB40 and Chrissy Hine and Breakfast in Bed. It's at number 41.
Yeah, I have a funny story about that. The only reason I really know that song is because when I was taking radio broadcasting, that was one of the singles. There were a bunch. I started taking radio broadcasting in '92, in that fall of '92, and there were a bunch of. We were learning how to queue up records on a turntable. There were a
Yeah.
bunch of singles that were like practice singles. For some reason, they were all around the 1988 period, and that was one of them. I don't know why I remember that, but
Uh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so the next one's a bit of a strange one. I mean, I know the theme, but it's Batman theme by Neil Hefti, Hefti. Maybe
that
it's the
would
official
be
Batman theme.
that would be the original TV theme
Yeah,
from like 1967.
yeah,
That's really interesting because this is November 1988, and this is before the Prince
mm,
soundtrack, the Michael Keaton Batman. There hadn't been that big Batman revival yet. So for the original '60s theme to show up in the chart in late '88, that's well, okay. This is just a guess. Would
mm.
would like a would like a television station have started playing reruns of Batman around that time?
I mean,
Because
that's the only thing I can think of. I don't remember it, being having a resurgence of popularity. I mean, yeah. It
I
was.
know
Yeah,
this,
I remember the TV show was popular here, but not by '88. It was like it
it
was
would
an
yeah,
old show.
it would have had to have
Yeah,
been reruns or in syndication.
yeah,
I know that like MTV in '86 started rerunning the Monkees, and then they had a bit of a resurgence. So that's the
yeah,
only thing I can figure. Like
yeah.
that's interesting.
I mean, sometimes that did happen. Old TV shows did get replayed and rerun, and so, the record companies go, well, hey, let's maybe put out this, the a single for it, just because it's getting a lot of viewership and stuff. But
Hmm.
and actually, the next one's got a bit of a TV connection as well. And I don't know if you're going to know about this particular person, but quite popular in the '80s. In the '80s, quite popular. The artist is Jason Donovan, and Nothing Can Divide Us.
Okay, so let me tell you what I know with that name.
Yeah,
Be- Did did he not have a song with Kylie Minogue?
yeah, they did a
That
duet
must
together.
be the
Yeah,
context that I know it in. But other than that, no, I really don't know who he is.
right. Yeah, so well, both him and Kylie Minogue were on like a soap opera that was really popular here, or and especially in Australia, called Neighbours.
Right.
And yep, and so they're both in the TV show, the soap opera show, but they're both singers. And they had, I think that was a bit more of a hit. They did a duet together. But I don't remember the song. He wasn't as successful as Kylie Minogue. He kind of had a little bit of success as a solo artist, but not as he wasn't as big as Kylie Minogue. But yeah, there we go. And interestingly enough, at number 38, it's Kylie Minogue, and I Still Love You.
I don't know that song. I mean,
Mm.
this was the year that she had, the locomotion and
Yeah.
what was the other one? I Should Be So Lucky.
Mm.
That was the
Oh yeah.
Stock Aitken Waterman, like the Rick
Yeah.
Astley team of songwriters, right, and producers. And oddly enough, like those were big hits. Well, especially the locomotion in North America, but she had a ton of hits around the world, except for North America, until like the early 2000s. So yeah, that's it. But I don't know the song that is in this chart this particular week.
Yeah.
Unless it's a
Yeah.
Kiss cover. Maybe it's a Kiss cover.
Yeah, don't think so. Um, okay. Next one. I remember these guys, but I wasn't into them. This is a band called London Beat, and there's a beat going on.
Now, this is interesting. This is one of the cool things about this. I thought London Beat were brand new in 1991 because they had that song, I've Been Thinking About You, which was
Oh yeah,
all over the radio.
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know they had anything out prior to that. So that's I'm learning things here.
yeah. 36, Cheap Trick, and Don't Be Cruel.
Yeah, this was a big comeback year for them. I didn't know, like that's the other cool thing. A lot of these bands, I'm not sure how they did around the world. I know Cheap Trick were
Mm,
big in Japan, but I didn't
mm,
know they made any dent down your way. But yeah, their
mm.
version of "Don't Be Cruel" was a pretty big hit here anyway.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, they've never been huge here in New Zealand, but they did have a little bit of a hit, obviously with Don't Be Cruel. Of course, The Flame was big here. That
Yeah,
was a big one.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. All right, 35. Another band I know, but I don't know the song. It's the band is Bomb the Bass, and it's Mega Blast. Mega Blast, yeah, Mega Blast.
Neither the title nor the artist sounds
Oh,
familiar to me.
really?
No, it
But yeah,
sounds it
Bomb the
sounds
Bass.
to
I
me
think they're
like
like a dance.
yeah. I'm thinking of that "Pump
Yeah,
Up the Volume,"
yeah,
that sort of thing.
yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. Now, next one I don't know either. Breathe and Hands to Heaven.
Oh yeah, that they're a UK band, kind of like adult contemporary pop, and that was a big hit in North America. And they had another big song called "How Can I Fall" the same year. So yeah, pretty mellow stuff.
Right. Yeah, there's quite a bit of UK stuff here actually. Next one, 33, Bros. Drop the Boy.
They,
Bros.
yeah, they were like a duo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Oh,
I don't remember any really. I don't think they ever really broke in North America, but I do remember seeing a couple of videos. I don't know if they were trying to be the next Wham or something
yeah.
like that. But yeah, I'm vaguely aware of them.
I mean, I would just see them on those sort of in those magazines, those, what do you even call them, pop
Teen
magazines or whatever,
magazines.
teen magazine type things. They're really made more for the girls, and it would
Yeah.
have the two. Like I say, it looks like there might be three of them, but because there's three on
Oh,
the
okay.
cover of the.
Were they actually brothers?
Uh, I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
buy them at all. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Nobody
That
that
just
watches my channel or yours is likely to be up on their bras or
no,
bras.
no. But now that you asked that question, I might have to search that up later. Where you guys actually, brothers? But I know that I do know that at least one of them is still putting out music because I've like as a solo artist, and I can't remember his name, but he is still putting out music. But anyway, there's probably more than enough time on Bros. Uh, 32 S Express Superfly Guy.
Don't know that.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like Bomb the Bass kind of thing. It's a bit I don't know the song, but yeah, I think it might be more of a dance sort of thing. But yeah. 31, I know this one, I think you will as well. The Proclaimers and I'm Gonna Be.
Yeah, for sure. The interesting thing is that that song didn't really become a hit over here till like 5 years later.
Oh, is that right?
I know it
Okay.
originally came out in '88, but yeah, it was '93. It was in a movie, Benny and June, I think, and that's when that song started to get played all the time. So, yeah, that's really interesting that it took that long to really
Ah,
break through. But yeah,
okay. Yeah, I mean that's and that might have happened here as well. I can't remember. I just know it was a huge hit. It was like massive. At this stage, it's not a hit. It's only been on the charts 3 weeks, and so it's at 31. Number 30, Hot House Flowers. I'm sorry.
I do know that group. I think they were from the UK, and being a Def Leppard fan, I know that they play on the song "From the Inside" that's on the Retroactive album. So yeah, I'm
Oh, okay. Yeah.
somewhat familiar with them for that reason, the Def Leppard
So
connection.
on that song, they're like guest musicians on it, are they? From
Yeah,
the inside.
yeah,
Oh,
and
right.
I think they also did a version of the Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want. I don't. That's. I think that was a B side.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. 29, it's John Farnham again, and a song called Two Strong Hearts.
Yeah, yeah. That's a catchy song.
Yeah. So he's got two songs on the charts. Now next one was a big hit. Interesting, it's at 28 this week. Last week it was at 12, but it's had 9 weeks on the chart. And it's the Escape Club in Wild Wild West.
Yeah, that was a huge hit. That was a
Yeah,
number one song in the States and probably in
yeah,
Canada too.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, Escape Club. I mean that they might. I don't know if they're one hit wonder, but that was their. I don't know if they had too much more after
That's
that.
they would have had like two or three like lesser charting hits, but that was the
Yeah,
one. That was the big
yeah,
one.
yeah. And that's what would happen, right? If you had a big hit, then the next song you might, because you got a bit of momentum, they might get a bit of play, But
Yeah,
unless you keep going, you just a lot of these acts will just fade away
and you
eventually.
might have one before and maybe one after too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Bookends.
yeah. Now this will be interesting if you know about these guys. Number 27, Shriekback, Get Down Tonight.
I do know who they are. I don't know much about them. Um, I know they had a bald lead singer.
Yeah.
And I think they're from the UK. And would you describe them as like an alternative rock type
Mm.
of band? And I'm assuming that that's a Casey and the Sunshine Band cover, "Get Down Tonight."
Yeah, actually, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't seem like the kind of song that they would do, but then maybe they've put their own spin on it.
Yeah,
Um, it's yeah. I know they had one song. I can't remember the name of it, but they definitely had one song that was quite a big hit for them, at least down here. And it wasn't this one, but yeah, yeah, 2 weeks on the chart. But yeah. All right, next one I know very well. In fact, this one there was some anticipation even about it being released, and I got quite excited because the music show that was on at the time that would play, hard rock music videos from time to time was promoting this as it's going to have its premiere tonight. And it was like getting premiere, promoted throughout the show, and I think they played the music video right at the very end, so you had to watch the whole music show to watch it. And it's Superstitious by Europe. That's a 26. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love that song. Love that album, Out of This World. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Now you're talking.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those. Like, oh yes, I know
now
this
you're
one.
speaking our language, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And like I say, it was a big deal. Like Europe had obviously had a big hit, like they did all over the world with the Final Countdown. And so it was hyped up. And I remember though thinking, and I like the song, but I do remember thinking, it doesn't have anything that really separates them though from the Bon Jovis and type of thing. Like, I feel like Final Countdown with that keyboard, I know it's a bit cheesy, but that keyboard intro was like really made them unique, I think. And yeah.
Well, one thing that was kind of neat about Superstitious is that you didn't have a lot of songs that started off with an a cappella intro like that.
Yeah.
And Key Marcello's guitar solo is just so melodic, and you can sing it until he gets to the fast part. I can't sing that fast.
Yeah. No, it was good. I mean, they're still doing the hard rock too. They hadn't softened their sound or anything. In fact, maybe that was fairly heavy for first single, for them. So, it was good. It was good. Didn't have the success though, that album, at least for down here.
No, that was the last time. Unfortunately, that was the last time they were ever in the charts and ever on the radio over here. And it's a shame because they put an excellent album out in '91, Prisoners in Paradise, and all of the albums that they've put out since they got back together in the early 2000s have been really, really solid, really good, but you just never hear of them over here.
Yeah, no.
Also, they never tour over here either, so.
Right, yeah. Next one, 25. I have no knowledge of this at all. Derek B, Bad Young Brother.
Nope.
No.
Sounds hip hop to me, but I don't know.
It looks hip hop, but yeah. Okay. 24, Rick Astley, and She Wants to Dance with Me.
Yeah. 88, you're bound to get Rick rolled, as they say nowadays.
Yeah. Okay. 23, Pet Shop Boys, Domino Dancing.
Yeah. And not a huge hit for them over here, but I do know the song.
I remember when West End Girls, was it? West End Girls?
Yeah, that was a big hit in early 86 for them.
Yeah, I really liked that song when that one came out. And that was maybe one of their first hits, but yeah, it's a good song. Now this is a New Zealand band coming up, so this, if you know this, I'll be surprised. This is a band called The Fan Club, and a song called Paradise. Yeah, no.
I know of a band called Teenage Fan Club, but it's not the same thing. Yeah, no, got me there.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know too much other than I remember the song, I remember the band. It's just pop rock. It's nothing. Wasn't really something I was into at the time. So, 21 is the Beach Boys and Kokomo.
Yeah, that was a huge comeback song for them.
It was the soundtrack song, I think.
From the Tom Cruise Cocktail movie.
Yeah. That was a big song. It was so. I mean, it's only at 21 at the moment, but I think that was. That's.
It was the number one song in the U.S. and so.
Yeah. No, it's only just got on the charts at this time in New Zealand. So, actually, it'll be interesting when we look at your charts, because obviously there's going to be some crossover, but just the time difference. Because I think sometimes here in New Zealand, some of the songs were released later on.
Yeah, because when you talked about Superstitious, I remember first hearing that and seeing the video in like late August of '88, because I remember it because I hadn't gone back to school yet. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I used to follow the back in the sort of late '80s. I used to listen to, because they would play it here in New Zealand. They played the Casey Kasem.
The American Top 40. Yeah.
Top 40. And so often you'd hear songs that hadn't even got airplay or been played here yet. And you'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, wow, that's cool. And then later on, it would get played here and it would be a hit, So it was almost like a sneak peek of what's going to probably become a hit
Yeah.
here in New Zealand. But yeah. Okay, so number 20, we've got Bobby Brown and Don't Be Cruel.
Huge song. And I remember, yeah, I used to listen to Casey Kasem like really almost every week. And I remember them being a lot of talk that there were two songs in the chart at the same time called Don't Be Cruel.
Yeah, that's right.
Different
Yeah,
songs,
yeah. Yeah, so same. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different song, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 19, Vision Vamp and I Want Your Love.
I've heard of them, but that's about as far as it goes. I know that, yeah, I know they had a female lead singer, but I don't know if that's the song I would know by them, but I have heard of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of those ones I think where you might hear the song and go, oh yeah, I do know that song. It's just like when you hear the title, maybe not quite enough.
Yeah.
18, the Robert Cray Band and Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Yeah, he blues guitar player. Yeah, that song actually, I know the song. It didn't chart that high in North America. His best known song over here was a song called Smoking Gun. That was sort of like a mid 20s type of, like, it charted in the mid 20s, like 87. But yeah, he's blues rock guitar player and probably still going today. I'm not sure. I haven't heard tell of Robert Cray in years. But
No, but it was, yeah, he was really popular here. Okay, next one I'm sure you won't know about because it's a New Zealand band. It's a duo, but they have a band name. So it's a female and a female singer and a sort of male guitar player. I guess I don't know. Maybe they're Anyway, it always seemed to be portrayed as just a two-person band. Ardija and Watching You.
no.
Yeah. That's pop rock, quite similar actually to the other the Fan Club, New Zealand, the other New Zealand band, the Fan Club, quite similar, just pop rock. I don't remember it that well, but they were quite popular. So they actually had 16 weeks on the chart. So at 17. Number 16, I think you'll know this one, and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and I Hate Myself for Loving You.
Yeah, that's another example. That was like early summer. I remember that song being out. But yeah, that was a big comeback hit for her. It was a top 10 hit. That was one of her co-writes with Desmond Child.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was a good comeback. Because I don't think she had many hits there for a while, but after
I Love Rock and Roll.
After that one, and then that put us sort of back in the charts. Cool. So that one's at 16, and at 15, it's Womack and Womack Teardrops.
Well, I've heard of it's R&B is all I know. I don't know if it's Bobby Womack, but yeah, I don't know any more than that. I do know the name. I don't know the song.
No, I don't know that one. Number 14, Run DMC, Mary Mary.
Yeah. I didn't think it was. I know the song. It didn't chart over here, I don't think, or it didn't chart very high, but I do know the song.
Yeah, they were pretty popular here, but I mean, obviously, Walk This Way was their big hit here.
Yeah.
I remember the song too, but not that well.
Yeah.
This one I know, and I'm sort of surprised it was such a big hit. It's DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Parents just don't understand.
Yeah, Will Smith introduced for the world. Yeah, I mean that was a huge hit. I think all over the world, and everybody knew it. But yeah, nowadays it's kind of a novelty, right?
Yeah, something I really don't need to hear.
Yeah,
but I guess he had a bit of a TV show crossover too. Helps.
Yeah, that definitely.
Yeah. Number 12. Now this one surprised me because I know this band quite well and like them. But I don't know this song at all. This is number 12, Duran Duran, and I Don't Want Your Love.
Yeah, that was I do know that song. That was like a top 10 single over here, maybe even top five, but it was the last.
Yeah.
And it was the only song that they had from that particular album.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was the last like really last hit they had until 93 when they came back with like Ordinary World and Come On Done. So
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't a song that it's not, it's definitely not among the first few songs you think of when you think Duran Duran, but I do know the song.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I might have missed that one because yeah, I really love their stuff, but I might have just missed that one. But like Wild Boys and
Yeah, yeah,
uh
yeah.
Say a Prayer. Oh, so many good
Due to a
songs.
Kill, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really
Also,
good.
also the album that this came off of was called Big Thing, and it wasn't a big album. So,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I've got their greatest hits, and yeah, it's just it's really good. Um, all right. Number 11 is actually a New Zealand act again. This is Tex Pistols and Ricky Morris. Nobody else. Number
Nope.
11. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So 12 weeks on the chart. Again, it's pop really. I remember it. Ricky Morris, he used to front some of the music shows here in New Zealand, so he had a bit of a TV personality as well. Um, yeah, but that's all I sort of know. So moving on. Number 10, Wet, Wet, Wet and Angel Eyes.
I've heard of Wet, Wet, Wet. I mean, basically, I know them because of their in '94 they did "Love Is All Around." Like that was their cover of the Trogs from the '60s. But they had a big hit with it in '94, and I think it was from a movie. But I don't know anything else by them.
Yeah, yeah. I yeah. They're kind of a bit of a boy band, I think, but um yeah, like you say, they did have a big hit, maybe a bit like more after this time. But yeah. All right. Number 9, Tony Childs and Stop Your Fussing.
I actually remember this from seeing it on Much Music. I don't remember much more about her, but she had that one and another song that they used to play, and I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, I vaguely remember it. Like that's one that, oh yeah,
Mm. She had a great voice. I remember, like, quite a distinctive voice.
Don't Walk Away. I think the other one was called that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think she definitely had other hits, but yeah. So that one's at number 9. Um, 6 weeks on the chart. All right. Number 8, it's the Bros again, and I owe you nothing. Yeah,
Now that title sounds familiar. That title sounds familiar, but the song that I think of with them is When Will I Be Famous? That's the title that
okay,
I, for some reason, I don't know why, but anyway.
yeah, okay, yeah. No, I passed on them. So,
Yeah.
but I can confirm there's three because there's definitely three people on the cover of this one as well. But I think only two though were kind of popular for whatever reason. Anyway, they always seem to be in on the front of the magazines. Was often just two of them. But anyway, right, next one. So this is a similar one to Europe because it's the debut video for a new album coming out, and it's a lot of anticipation. And this is Bad Medicine by Bon
Yeah, that
Jovi.
as soon as you started, I was like, yeah, I figured it would be that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
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 that was exciting. Waiting for the New Jersey album to come out for sure.
yeah, yeah. So I remember this actually took me totally by surprise. You know how like with the internet, you kind of know now when things are coming out, especially if it's a band you follow and looking forward to. I just I don't know. I don't know. I just remember seeing it on TV. It's like, what? You Bon Jovi? It's like, so
Yeah,
yeah,
and that was the gimmick behind that was that they gave the fans cameras to film
yeah,
with. Yeah,
yeah. That's quite a cool idea.
yeah.
So another one I'm familiar with at number 6. It's Guns N' Roses and Sweet Child of Mine.
Yeah. I think it's lots of play to
Mm.
this very day, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was really the song that broke them here in New Zealand. That was the one that really made them big. I think probably blew them up everywhere, really. But
Oh,
that
it was a
song,
number 1 song. Yeah,
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 yeah. Um, Number five, A Groovy Kind of Love by Phil Collins.
yeah.
Soundtrack song, by the looks of it, I think.
Soundtrack of a movie he was in, actually.
Yes, that's
Well,
right. Buster, I think it
Buster.
is.
He and Jamie Lee Curtis. That's all I know about the movie, but I do remember like seeing you know uh pictures of him and his character from the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's right. Because he was a bit of an actor, like he was on Miami Vice.
Miami Vice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
few
there was a
times.
time. I mean, there was a time that Phil Collins was literally everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he was. Genesis, solo, acting.
yeah,
Pretty impressive guy, pretty talented, eh?
yeah.
But,
Producing other artists too. Like he
mm,
played on Robert Plant's first 2 solo albums, and he
yeah.
produced Howard Jones, and yeah,
And I remember on Live Aid, he played drums. Oh, he played on both, right?
he played in London, and then he like took a
Yeah,
jet went to Philadelphia. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah. He played drums with Led Zeppelin, and yeah. Although that was a horrible performance, not his performance, but Jimmy
Yeah,
Page's terrible
yeah,
shape. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Number four, another New Zealand act. This is a band called Melting Pot. Sorry, this is a band called When the Cat's Away, and the song is Melting Pot.
That's really interesting because I would have thought that once we got into the top 10 and the top 5 that I would at least have heard of the act, but no, I haven't.
So When the Cat's Away is is a group, but it's like a whole lot of quite well known New Zealand female singers, and they're kind of all joined together. I mean, when I say well known, they're not huge, but have some sort of popularity here, and so they've actually formed their own group together.
So sort of a super
Um,
group.
Sort of a super group, yeah, sort of is, and you know the they kept going for quite a while, and I think they've reformed. And when they reform from time to time, they've had different people sort of come in. So I think yeah, other sort of fairly well known New Zealand female vocalists have joined When the Cat's Away, even though they weren't original members. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like
Yeah.
you can come and go, but as long as you've got a bit of a name, then you could join the group. But it's a good song, actually. I mean, it's a good song worth checking out. Of the New Zealand stuff that's come up, it's really probably the only one I remember and know. And yeah, so anyway, that's it. That's at number four. Number three, a band I'm pretty sure you'll know about, U2 and Desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were huge, eh, back in the 80s this
Yeah.
time.
From Rattle and Hum, their concert
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Number two, a song I absolutely cannot stand this song. I've got to say, I can't. Yeah, I mean, obviously people liked it, but it's Bobby McFerrin and "Don't Worry, Be Happy."
Yeah, it's I yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, I get the novelty of it and the fact that
Yeah,
obviously it took a lot of, he did every part, all the instruments, but it just got too much play, and it's not,
yeah,
it makes me anything but happy when I hear it.
yeah,
It makes me
exactly.
worry. I actually worry more than anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has the opposite effect on me,
Obviously,
definitely.
yeah.
And like I say, it just seemed to be everywhere. And you know, I mean, a lot of this stuff I didn't go out my way to hear. You just would hear it,
You
right?
just
You'd be
heard
in
it.
a
Yeah,
shopping mall,
yeah.
and it would be playing. You go in the lift and you hear it, or you'd just be at someone's house, the TV's on, music videos playing, or yeah,
Well,
you turn the TV on.
if you were at the store, like if you were at a shopping mall,
Mm.
it'd be playing over the PA, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
couldn't. So you just
So
knew it. Right?
that's kind of part of it, really. It wasn't like you almost couldn't avoid it.
Yeah.
Right, here we are, number one. I got to be honest with you. I think I know the song, but it's not super familiar, which is a bit surprising considering it's the number one song in New Zealand in 1988, end of November. It's Yaz and the Plastic Population. The Only Way Is Up.
No, I don't know that.
Really? Okay, I mean the band itself, Yaz and the Plastic Population, don't aren't super familiar to me. But The Only Way Is Up as the song title. Like, oh yeah, I think I know. I think I know the
Okay.
song.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not gonna start singing it or anything, but I think I know how it goes. But yeah, it's
that's that's really
it's
interesting. Like that's really like a almost like an anticlimactic. Like we both get the
yeah,
number one song. It's like, huh?
mm, it
But
is.
that's the
Especially
interesting
as
thing.
you
Like,
knew some quite obscure ones, Tim, and then we get to the number one, and you're like,
yeah,
no.
right at the end,
Okay.
but
Well, I
that was
wonder
really
if maybe that could be quite sort of a bit of a New Zealand thing. I don't know, but yeah, I have to
help
look
us
that
out
one up
out
later.
there. Help me about this one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really it's really cool to see. There are a lot of things that I noticed. Like there are a lot of songs that were in common that were big hits everywhere, obviously. Um, but then yeah, there were other ones that were bigger hits than I thought, and then there were other ones that I just have no basis. Like no, I've got no background with them. So
Mm,
yeah, I like learning this stuff. So I will be looking into some of this. So yeah,
mm,
that was really cool. So well,
mm,
thanks, Steve. That was the top 50 songs in
mm.
New Zealand around this time, right around this time in 1988. So for people out there, I know that people from all over the world watch. Are there any songs that you were surprised that we didn't mention? Are there any songs that you'd never heard of? Are there any songs that you'd think, how can you not know that song?
Yeah.
List it in the comments below. Be sure and subscribe to Rock Metal
Invasion.
Invasion
Yeah.
on YouTube. And Steve, thanks for coming on. And
A pleasure.
look, and we'll be doing the same type of thing, switcheroo, on Steve's channel. So yeah, I'll be looking for that. And want to thank everyone for watching this edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions.